Hi guys, welcome back to more virtual programming. Today we're gonna be doing another triple play soul. So let's jump right in. Okay, so we always start with a warm welcome. Hi you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're washing your hands. I hope you're staying safe. Make sure that you're going to the clubs and getting those dinners and making sure that you're picking up, those meals and stuff, and saying hi to Miss Quenisha and the rest of the team and everything. So for our community builder, community builder today is called Poison Dart Frog. So the objective or the job of the game is to get the detective to figure out who the poison dart frog is without it claiming too many victims. So this is a great game to play like with some friends, or if you have like little brothers and sisters, or just with your family in general. This is definitely something that you all could do together. So what's gonna happen is one person will be the detective and one person is the poison frog. So the way that it works is the detective leaves the room, the poison dart frog is picked. You can tap them on the head. You guys can vote. However you guys want to decide to do that, and then the detective will come back in the room. So the detective has 3 guesses to identify who the suspect frog is before it gets away. And so if the suspect or the poison dart frog gets caught, they now become the detective. If they don't get caught, then you just pick someone new. So you'll walk around the room, everybody who's not the detective and who's not the dart frog, poison dart frog, you'll walk around the room, and if the person who's the frog, if they stick their tongue out at you, then you've been like nabbed, like now you've been like poisoned, and you just either sit down or lay on the ground or whatever to show that you have been nabbed. And so once that happens, the detective, it gets a little bit easier. The detective, can figure out who is the frog, but they only get 3 guesses. So you can keep doing that. You can play it in multiple rounds. But like I said, if the suspect gets caught, they become the next detective. And if the detective doesn't guess correctly after 3 tries, then you just reset and you pick a new frog and a new detective, because you want everybody to have a chance. So definitely play like multiple rounds of that. You can kind of switch it up a little bit if you wanted to have like 2 detectives and 2 frogs. If your group is big enough to do that, you could definitely do that. If you kind of want to have it to where like everybody hops around the room like a frog, and if everybody walks, and then if you're nabbed, or if the person who is the frog nabs you or sticks their tongue out at you, then you have to hop around like a frog until either they get caught or the person doesn't guess 3 times. So it's really up to you. You can play the game in like several different ways. So try some of those and let me know how it goes. So now on to our group agreement. So our group agreement is the same as it always is. Making sure that everyone feels heard, making sure that everyone feels safe, making sure that we're following directions the first time they're given, and making sure that everyone is included. Okay, so now on to our main activity. So I'm sure that you guys have heard of the game telephone. So if you haven't, the game of telephone is basically like you have a line of people, and somebody starts like a message or like a phrase or a word on one end, and you whisper it to each other until it gets to the final person at the other end, and they have to say what they heard. Usually, by the time you get to the end, whatever was said down here is not what ends up at the end of the line. So, what we're going to be doing today is kind of like telephone, but it's telephone Pictionary. So, what you're going to need is to make sure that you have some paper that can be like lined paper like this, or construction paper, or just regular white printer paper. It's just whatever you have available to you, and a pen. I say use a pen and not crayons or markers, just because pens are usually all almost the same color. And it's just easier to find like more of these. Of course, if you want to use colored pencils, crayons, markers, you're more than welcome to do so. But I just think we should just use a pen. So do whatever you feel. So what's going to happen is you're going to get into oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm sorry. Since we're playing telephone Pictionary, you can't speak. You can't, no words, can't say anything at all to each other. So that's why you have the pen and the paper. So what's going to happen is you're going to form two single file lines. And depending on like the size of your group, it could just be one line, it could be two, it could be three. It just depends on how many people that you have, how many people are in your group. So you're gonna sit parallel to each other. So that means you're gonna sit across from each other. So one line here, another line here, sitting in front of you. So what's going to happen is everybody will have a sheet of paper and a writing utensil, and someone at the end, if you like have like an older sibling that kind of wants to give you the word or the phrase or whatever that you're going to draw, they can do that, or you could just choose like one end of the line to start at and go from there. So you'll start with an object or a phrase at the back of the line, and then that person has to attempt to draw either the word or the phrase that was like said to them. So, but this is just for the first person. So let's say that our word, I say start with a word for the first round, just so it's a little bit easier, so everybody kind of gets the hang of everything. So I'm trying to pick something that might not be too hard, but not too easy. So the word is summer. So okay, so that's my picture for summer. I'm very bad at drawing, so let's not get into that. But this is my picture of summer. So what will happen next is I'll show the picture to the person next to me, and they'll try to interpret what this picture is. So what they'll do, excuse me, what they do is draw on their piece of paper what they think I'm trying to say. But remember, this is Pictionary, so you're not gonna write the word on your paper. That's not how that works. So once it reaches the front, each team will share. So each line is a team. I forgot to say that. I'm sorry. Each line is a team. So, but they both have the same thing. It's just kind of like who can get to the end the quickest and correct. So yeah, once you get to the end, each team will share what they came up with, and the person that came up with the word or the person that came up with the phrase shares what it actually is. So 9 times out of 10, by the time that you get to the end, whatever the word or the phrase was, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to match whatever you say that you think it is at the end. So but you can definitely play multiple rounds of this game. You can switch spots, you can switch teams, like switch teammates, switch team members. You could start out with like the first few rounds only doing words, and then moving to like small phrases, and then moving to like whole sentences, stuff like that, trying to like up the difficulty level as you go on. So you can do a whole lot of different things with this, but just make sure that you're not talking and that you're only this is all you can use. All you can use is your paper. So that was the main activity. Now we are going to move on to our reflection questions. Okay, so just like how we always do reflection, you can answer the reflection questions in the comment box, or you can just answer them with whoever you're with. But I'll say the question and then you can pause the video and answer the question. So the first reflection question is, what did you notice about the picture as it was passed down? So pause the video and answer the question. All right, next question. How did you try to help the person in front of you get the message or the picture? So how did you try to help the person in front of you get the right message or picture? Okay. When have you experienced a message getting misunderstood or repeated incorrectly? That's a good question. When have you experienced a message getting misunderstood or repeated incorrectly? That happens a lot. And last reflection question. What could you do if you hear people sharing false information or starting rumors? We really need to talk about that. What could you do if you hear people sharing false information or starting rumors? I really would like to see you guys' responses to that last question. Because that's something that's pretty common, and spreading rumors and stuff. So how do we what do we do when we hear people sharing information that we know isn't true or starting rumors? Okay, so now we're gonna move on to our recognition. So recognition, just making sure that everyone's recognized, because everyone participated. So we want to make sure that everyone feels good and recognized, and that everyone gets noticed. So you could start by asking, is there anyone in the group who you have ever witnessed stopping a rumor from starting? And then you kind of want to give the opportunity for people to recognize their peers when they've noticed them stopping a rumor from starting. So if you hear somebody kind of like starting a rumor and you being like, no, we're not gonna do that, that's not what we're doing, that is something that you want to recognize. So then after that, you want to find someone who you worked with on this activity, this game, and give them a high five for their efforts. because this game is not easy at all. So it's kind of hard to interpret, what people, just based off a drawing. You never know. You just never know. So, could this looks like summer to me, but it could just look like some kids playing outside, or just some kids outside or something to somebody else. You never know. So make sure that you find somebody that you worked with on the activity and you give them a high five. Alrighty, so now make sure that you clean up any messes that were made. Make sure that you put all your materials back where they belong. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you guys stay safe, and I will see you guys next time.